I might be the only person in the world that likes receiving crappy cold emails. Most people don't. And many businesses are damaging their brand by doing cold email in the wrong way. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly why your cold outreach could be harming your brand and what specific behaviors prospects find annoying, rude, or simply misleading. And what I'll do is I'll show you a way to do cold outreach which actually builds trust instead. Let's dive into it. So why would doing cold outreach damage your brand? You're emailing someone without asking. People, for some reason, don't seem to talk about this, but yes, that can annoy people. Like, of course it can annoy people. Do not hide from that fact. Right? Do not just like, this isn't a real thing. It definitely is a real thing. And like, we do cold outreach for a lot of companies. I'm mindful of that. They're mindful of that. It's a reality of doing cold outreach. They didn't ask. You better have something of value for them and you better deliver, right? So what I mean by this is you're reaching out to them because you think you have an opportunity for them. You better be quite certain that they're the right person that's going to find your thing relatively interesting, okay? And if you're not certain, then you need to be extremely nice, friendly, open, warm, welcoming in your approach. Okay, this is especially the case if you are an agency owner, so you have got clients. You need to be extremely cognizant that you are dealing with their brand. You're putting their brand directly in front of customers, consumers, prospects. You need to make sure you treat it with respect so that you don't do any brand damage. And everyone needs to keep in mind that any type of advertising can annoy people. We used to run a whole lot of Facebook ads and people would comment being like, get the fuck off my phone. I'm like, dude, you're on the Facebook app. Like, that's why it's on your phone. But people don't know, don't care. Some people are just going to get annoyed with everything. That doesn't mean you need to just put everyone into that bucket. You just have to be aware of the reality that any form of advertising, you can be advertising on YouTube or on the radio or billboards or cold email, it's going to annoy some people. That's a reality. Also, the reality is they're not asking for a cold email. Make sure you do a good job. Otherwise, you're going to damage your brand, right? There's also ways to grow your brand through cold email. We've grown our brand through cold email, okay? Like, that is how lots of our clients have grown their brand, is through cold email, because cold email drives traffic to your site, drives traffic to your YouTube channel, gets people to connect with you on LinkedIn, you give value, you get more customers, you deliver for those customers, you get testimonials, you get referrals. You can grow your brand off the back of cold email. So I'm going to talk about this in here as well. So what are the things that you need to be watching out for in order to not damage your brand, right? What are the things that I look at? So the prospect thinks you're being rude. I see this all the time and I almost feel bad calling people out for it. But anyway, when you criticize people with your outreach, you're often going to run into trouble, right? So you don't think you're being rude, but the prospect can think that. Be careful when criticizing the prospect. Hey, John, I think your website could do with some improvement. Hey, Hoani, I was looking at your YouTube videos and I think your thumbnails aren't very good and I can make better ones. Hey, Stacy, I noticed that you're not doing this, or this is a problem, right? Just be aware that at least 1% of people are going to take insult to that, because people, just humans, don't like being criticized, and they're going to take offense to that, and that in their mind is rude. I'm not saying it is rude, and majority of the population probably doesn't think it's rude. You're just trying to provide some helpful criticism or helpful feedback, but a large enough percentage thinks that it is rude that I would suggest avoiding this type of outreach. Meaning, like, if you're emailing 10,000 people a month and 1% of them find it rude, that's like 100 people a month that you're kind of annoying. So I would say just be careful with this form of outreach. Just reword it. It's like, hey, John, I drafted a new version of your website that I think you might find interesting. Do you mind if I send it over? Just don't criticize whatever they're doing currently, in my opinion. I think that can just get you into hot water, okay? So I would say avoid criticizing them. Don't be misleading. This pisses people off. Why? Because people that you're doing outreach to already are skeptical and suspicious of you and think that you're trying to scam them. That's like the starting line. And so you don't want to justify that immediately, right? So don't be misleading with your subject line. If you trick people into reading your email, they won't be in the right headspace to respond positively because you've literally already let them down. So for example, if your subject line is, hey, first name, I slept with your wife last night, you're going to piss a whole lot of people off, even though they're going to click on the email, right? You're being misleading. If it's like, I have a free 3 leads for you, but you don't. Or if it's something which misleads them to read the email, they're going to be annoyed. And then if in the email itself you're misleading them, don't try and trick people into a sales call. This will not work. It would just make the sales call harder. Yes, have a compelling offer, but don't lie, right? Like, you obviously want something that is compelling, but you don't want to be misleading people to get onto a sales call, and you don't want to be misleading people with a subject line to read your email. Both of these things are just going to cause you more heartache. If you have to make your offer more compelling to get people on a sales call, you then have to deliver on that offer, and that's fine, right? If you have to say, hey, we do 3 free leads in order to get people onto a sales call, then do the 3 free leads. That's far easier than not doing it and then trying to like reposition the prospect and da-da-da. So that would be my recommendation. Don't be misleading. Don't be rude. Don't email them a lot. This is probably the number one, right? Most business owners are okay with 1 cold email. They're probably even okay with 2 or 3, right? Most. But you will almost never do any brand damage on your first or second email. By email 5, people are far more likely to get annoyed. We tend to do a 2-step sequence for this reason. And I think this is pretty clear, most big agencies that do a lot of volume, that work with a lot of clients, they're only going to do a 1 or a 2-step email sequence. Yes, the money's in the follow-up and all this, but they know that if they don't get a response by their second email, the likelihood that they're going to get a response on email 3, 4, 5, and 6 compared to the likelihood that they're going to annoy the prospect, get marked as spam, and do brand damage is just not worth it. That trade-off, they'd rather just reach out to somebody else, okay? So this is what we do. We do a 2-step sequence. We send the video in the second email. We only do not do this if we are playing in a realm which is very unlikely to do brand damage. For example, and this is a lesson I learned recently, if you're like a cleaning company and you're reaching out to local businesses, you can probably send them like a 4 or 5-step email sequence, because you're like, hey, I'm John. I'm just off Hawani's Road, just around the corner from you guys. We're going to be in the area next week. Do you want me to pop in and give you a free quote for janitorial services? Like, you're not going to piss people off with that, right? Because you're just around the corner. That's okay, right? So that sort of thing would be fine. If you're doing just like the whole of the US, or whole of the state, or just really big campaigns, e.g. you're not local, then I would stick to a 2-step email sequence. What we do is we then wait 12 weeks before emailing them again, if we feel like we have something of value for them, right? So we do reuse lists. We wait 3 months. So we just send a 2-step, we'll wait 3 months. And then if the campaign's performing well and it's telling us that the market does care about this offer, then we'll reach out to them again. And that is how I would recommend doing it. And I would recommend just sticking to a 2-step sequence, unless you have something that clearly breaks down this skepticism, e.g. you're also in the local area. It's a really good way to break down skepticism. Okay, so how to actually grow your brand. So cold outreach can grow your brand. Like I said, it's grown our brand. As well as generating our sales on the front end, cold email has grown our brand on the back end. Cold email gets the brand in front of people, without a doubt. More people will go to your website. So we've just noticed a big uptick in website traffic since we started doing cold email. More people will go to your LinkedIn. More people will visit your YouTube channel, right? Because the majority of people will just take the email signature, which in my case would be like Hawani, Taylor, okay, it's not Sticks. And they're just going to Google this. And the first thing that comes up is LinkedIn. Then we've got, our website, and then we've got YouTube channel. So this is typically what they're going to look at if they just copy and paste the email signature, which is what they do majority of the time. Or they're just going to copy and paste the domain, which is just going to get forwarded to our Carrots Not Sticks website. Okay, so people especially do this if you send good emails, and this is the key. And it's not easy, but it is very simple. Send emails people want to receive. Send emails people want to receive. If you send good emails that people want to receive, they will do research on you as well as respond positively, right? You get all the positive effects. They will go and watch some YouTube videos, which tells the YouTube algorithm that these are the types of people that you want to show your video to. They will connect with you on LinkedIn. So even if you don't buy now, but you post on LinkedIn, they may buy in the next 12 months. They'll respond to your email positively, which tells Google and Microsoft that you're doing the right thing. You will have more sales calls, which means you have more sales call reps, which means you get better at sales calls. You may close the deal, which means you obviously get money. You also get a rep at fulfillment. If you do a good job at fulfillment, you also get testimonials that can go into your YouTube and website, which can help increase the system. If you do a good job, you can also get referrals, right? So sending good emails is the master key here to unlock all of this, right? And I've got plenty of videos on sending good emails. If you want help sending good emails, you can book in a call with somebody in our team. But this is the key. Send good emails. If they receive a good email from you, there is a percentage of people that will go and watch your content online, without a doubt. This tells the YouTube, LinkedIn, SEO algorithm who your content is for, and you can recommend it to more people like that, right? So in the beginning, most of the people that found our YouTube channel were just from cold email, which is quite interesting, okay? Be genuine. This, I don't see lots of other people talking about this. I'm sure they agree with it, but I think it's a big thing, which is be authentically you and yourself. And I get that this takes practice, but because if you're not well practiced in it, then it feels clunky. I get it. Like making videos can feel clunky if you're not well practiced in it. But in the era of AI, skepticism, everyone's trying to sell everyone everything. You feel like LinkedIn's some crazy cesspool of fakeness. Being genuine cuts through the noise really well. And how you can do that in cold email is you can write your copy in a genuine way. And like, we don't really use any AI to write our emails. Not that AI would do a particularly bad job, but I just find it's easier to write it in a genuine way instead of like reprompting it. I know roughly what I'm going to say in the email. I can just write it by hand. I often write the copy out like I'm just writing it to one person, and then you can tweak it to work at scale, right? So a way to do this is you can look at the offer, one prospect, and you can write the copy like, hey John, was just on your site and I saw that you guys did X, Y, and Z. I made a quick video because I think that we have something that would work for X, Y, and Z. Do you mind if I send it over here? Then it could be like, P.S. I'm sure you get cold emails all the time, but I've also tried to connect with you on LinkedIn. Like, this is genuinely me. Something like this, okay? You can write it, if you're just doing it one-to-one, it's so much easier to flesh out how you'd actually write it. And then once you've got that, you can look at it and be like, how would I do this at scale? Like maybe this line I couldn't use because I can't make that make sense at scale. Or maybe we can use an AI variable here and set up a clay table to pull in variables for those sorts of things, okay? If you're sending personalized videos, make the video in a genuine way. And again, I think everyone tries to do this. It just takes practice. You are trying to convey to the prospect that you have an opportunity for them. You must feel that you genuinely do, otherwise it will be a struggle. And it's like, foundationally, do you believe your product will help the prospect or your service will help the prospect? If you do, your job is just conveying that. That's all you're really trying to do. And that's what sales is. You're trying to convey to the prospect that you have an opportunity for them, okay? And that's why we are so big in the send personalized videos concept idea, because I think it's so much easier to genuinely convey that you have an opportunity for the prospect and to break down all these barriers of skepticism and trust, right? I think that if you do some form of cold outreach and a video, and then you have a sales conversation, that video really does bridge the gap. It really does make it such that you can have a more productive sales call because you've built more trust, okay? And so when you are making those videos, the goal is to be genuine, not perfect. Like, you don't have to say the perfect things. You just have to feel like you genuinely think you have an opportunity for them, okay? Big one, and this is where we've made some mistakes in the past, is where we've had issues with unsubscribing people. Please unsubscribe people. This will cause you issues. If someone doesn't want to hear from you, make sure that they do not hear from you. Just super simple. Add to block list anyone that asks, along with anyone that moves down your sales process, right? So any reply that says stop, unsub, not interested, added to block list. Anyone that is interested is also added to block list, right? There is some nuance here, because if you add them to a block list and then they respond to that email, then you can lose the lead, right? So we don't add them to the block list immediately, but the complications of that is for another video. Essentially, do not email people if they've asked to not be emailed or they've moved in your sales process. If they've moved in your sales process, you probably want to move them into some other flow in order to reach out to them. They can be dealt with in a more personal way, the people that have moved further down your sales process. Okay, so some settings that help. I just recommend having these on. Stop if someone from the domain replies, right? This is in SmartLead, but I'm sure it's also in Instantly. So auto pause if one of the leads from the same domain replies. Why? Because it does depend on the campaign, but let's say you're reaching out to local services businesses and there's info@carrotsnotsticks and Hawani@carrotsnotsticks are 2 emails. It's quite likely that for a smaller business, the info@carrotsnotsticks will just forward to the Hawani@carrotsnotsticks. And so if you email them both, then it can seem like you're sending them lots of emails. You've sent me 3 emails in the last 2 days. What's going on? Okay. I recommend this unless you're doing like a massive corporate campaign. And then I'd also recommend domain level rate limiting, which essentially means that you're not going to blast all the emails at one domain at one time, which I think ties quite nicely into this, right? So if you have these Hawani@carrotsnotsticks, info@carrotsnotsticks, you don't want to email them at the same time. You're more likely to run into issues than if you email one, and if they don't reply within X amount of days, you email the other one, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. I've spent the last 4 years building complete cold email systems that not only build trust, but actually generate genuine business results. If you want someone to help you with your cold email systems or book in calls in your calendar, you can book in a call with somebody in my team below. If you want to have a look at the full system that we build and you can give it a go building it yourself, there should be a 90-minute video on screen now. You can check that out. I'll see you there.